it is just now a little after 12. I think we can go ahead and start as people are getting in. So this is our March Lunch and Learn, and we are thrilled to have Jazz Pharmaceuticals, Greg Hansen, and his team talking about Unspoken Symphonies. So I'm just going to let Greg kind of go from there. And I am going to make you a host, so you can share your screen, because I know you're going to want to hit some highlights there.
Thanks, Dina. Can you all hear me? Okay. Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome. Can you all see this? Perfect. Welcome everyone. And Dina and I are really excited to be here. I'm Greg Hansen. I'm an account executive with Jazz Pharmaceuticals. I work in the long-term care area. And Ita is a neurology account manager who lives in Miami. So we're both gonna hey. I want to first say thank you to Dina and Alan for inviting us on. This is actually our second webinar with the Florida ARC, and we're really excited about our partnership. We talked with the providers on March 5th, and of course we're here with, I understand this is more of a caregiver group today. We're also going to be exhibiting at your advocacy days in mid-September in Orlando. And we'll be talking about a lot of things today. Hopefully over the next 30 to 45 minutes, we'll really be able to share some resources with you and also educate y'all. I should say that Epidiolex is the medication that we bring. That'll be part of our presentation today, as well as a resource called Unspoken Symphony. And Epidiolex is the first and only FDA-approved medication derived from cannabis, which treats rare forms of epilepsy. So we'll be talking about that too. I wanted to encourage you all to ask questions. We've left a lot of time for questions. You might notice at the end, it says questions at the end, but anytime anybody has any questions, if you want to just come off mute and say, hey, Greg, or hey, Ida, hold on a minute, or raise your hand, or raise your hand through Zoom, we welcome any questions, because what we want to do is, oh, hello, doggy. We want to make it a high level on Epidiolex, but allow y'all to ask questions so we can go into more detail if that's what you'd like to hear. So we're going to start with Unspoken Symphony, which is a non-branded resource. It's an awesome resource that lets individuals with epilepsy, or actually anyone, share any visual media, and it gets turned into music. And I'll explain it in a minute, but I think you'll really enjoy it, and it's free, and anybody can use it. We're going to talk about the importance of, in epilepsy, of a specific diagnosis, and kind of talk about the type of epilepsy patient that we're focusing on right now at Jazz. And we're going to talk about the refractory epilepsy screening tool, or REST, and it's to help caregivers and healthcare providers spot symptoms for Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. That's one of the three rare forms of epilepsy that Epidiolex treats. And then Ita will give you a high-level overview of Epidiolex. And I just wanted to share before I forget that Epidiolex is readily available for patients. The coverage rate in the country is over 98%, and in Florida, we've got great commercial and government coverage. Um, Epidiolex is covered by Florida Managed Medicaid, which many of you know is Sunshine Health, and also Florida State Medicaid or fee for service. So let's talk about Unspoken Symphony. And I wanted to share this slide just so you know what the website is to reach Unspoken Symphony. And it's right there. It's pretty easy to remember, unspokensymphony.com. And as you'll see in a minute, it's a way for individuals to share what's going on with them, with their art in the form of music, and share it with other individuals with epilepsy and their families. And like I said, it's free. So let me see. This is what you'll see when you get to Unspoken Symphony. And I think what I'm going to do now is unshare this and actually go to the website. So let's see if I can handle this. New share. Okay, can you see this page and can you hear that music also? Can you hear that, Ida?
We can't hear the music, but I can see the page.
Okay.
We can't hear the music.
I think what I need to do is I need to take these out. I think you'll be able to do it. We change. There. Can you hear that at all now?
Mm-mm. You may want to turn up the volume on your end.
Okay, so this is the actual website for Unspoken Symphony, and I think one of the best ways to explain it is bear with me. This is a really powerful video that tells how Unspoken Symphony was developed. So I'm gonna play this. Can y'all hear that?
It's not easy
Yes.
to know someone who can't talk. It teaches you to pay a lot more attention to little things.
Everybody's just really drawn to Riley, even though she's not really able to communicate.
For all of us, it's taken a lot of patience to get to know her and to be able to understand, understand her personality and understand her. It's been nice to have her as a sister. Because I can talk to her, but she won't respond or anything.
Does like textures, so she likes to kind of put her hands and stuff and move it around. That it is an expression of yourself.
It's impossible to know what Riley's thinking or how she feels when she's creating this art because she can't talk.
To feel that connection, just the most wonderful thing.
The sound of an entire group of kids, adults, whoever, that have really never been heard before.
And it's healing to feel that connection and to hear that gorgeous music come out of artwork.
It's a reminder to me that everybody's life is important. Wow, what an effect Riley might can have to inspire other families, to give voice to other kids. It's humbling.
Wow. That that's why I love what I do, because I get to impact individuals with epilepsy in so many ways. And I think that really is a powerful video. I just wondered, can anyone maybe think or describe how you think what you've seen so far of Unspoken Symphony can impact an individual with intellectual developmental disabilities?
It gives
Kimberly,
her,
you're in mute. There.
it gives her hope, and it gives her, I saw a smile on her face that she saw that other people were experiencing something that she had created.
Thanks, Kimberly. Yeah. I'll share in a little bit how other facilities have used it, but I was just curious how seeing that, I know it's early on, we're talking about how it impacted you. So thanks for sharing. Anybody else? Okay, I just wanted to show you. So here's an example of, you can see the watercolors. That's where it all started with Riley. That's what she submitted. But again, it's anything visual. So we've had a lot of interest in different facilities rolling this out on like art days, and anything that's created can be uploaded. Let's see. I think I'm going to that share, and oh shoot, where's my share button now? There it is. I want to go back to this. So can you see that? Back to the awesome. So this is how it works. I just wanted to maybe kind of go through it with you. So you go to make a melody. There's only 4 pages on the website. And this is what I did. I created my own. I took a picture that I took, can be artwork, a picture, whatever. It's pretty easy. You just snap a picture of it with your phone, you upload it to the website, and almost immediately it comes down. And what is really nice about this is it comes down as one form of a song, but you can actually go in, and I don't know if you guys can you see that okay? That up here, it says leading instrument. You can change that. There are 6 options for the leading instrument, and then a supporting instrument, and you can pick any one of those 6. And then you play it until it's something that speaks to you, and you click on done, and it's so cool. So it comes down immediately to your email as an MP4 video file, and also a of your artwork and the sheet music. So let's see. I'm gonna share with you here, just this. So this is what came down after I got, it was like immediately after I uploaded a picture, and then tweaked around with what instruments I liked, and here's what came back.
No, we can't hear the music, Greg.
Oh no. All right, well, thanks for letting me know, but so that's that is what comes down right away. Okay. And you can see this is I want to let you know, we also have Unspoken Symphony art kits, which have been really popular. What it is it's a little box of crayons, and then inside the Unspoken Symphony, the larger box on the right is basically blank pages, but also a reminder of how to get to Unspoken Symphony and steps. But it's really simple to use. If any of you are at a facility and you want to roll this out to your IDD individuals that have epilepsy, just give me a call and I can reach out to Ida or whoever your representative is. We can come in and help you roll this out in your facility. I wanted to give just a couple examples of how this has been used in other facilities, just in case it helps start the process for y'all. There was a 100-bed facility in the Northeast, and they were kind of frustrated during COVID because it was very difficult for families to come in and see their kids. So what they wanted to do is have a really big celebration when they opened back up. So what they did is they had all their residents create an Unspoken Symphony piece. So when the families came in, they had 100 of the pieces of artwork up on a wall, and the residents could share their art, share their song, and it was really special for them. Other facilities have scheduled art days where we can help out with that. We can bring in these art kits and work with creative directors or art directors and help you roll that out in your facility. But I know you've seen a couple things about Unspoken Symphony. Any other ideas about how you might roll this out with the IDD individuals with epilepsy that you support? Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna turn it over to Ida in a second to go over Epidiolex, but I wanted to introduce a type of patient to you first, that you could maybe think about this patient when we're going over a highlight of Epidiolex. And I wanted to introduce you to Stephen, who is an actual Epidiolex patient. Stephen's a resident of a long-term care facility, and he has Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. And what's interesting about Stephen is he had his first seizure when he was 1, but he didn't get a more specific diagnosis, in this case of Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, until he was 26. So he went through most of his formative years and early adult life with a diagnosis of refractory epilepsy. And Stephen, up until he got on Epidiolex, he had tried multiple seizure medications, and he wasn't seizure free. So I just wanted to introduce that concept that when you get a more specific diagnosis in epilepsy for one of the rare forms of epilepsy, in this case Lennox-Gastaut, it just opens up more treatment options, including Epidiolex, that can really enrich the lives of your epilepsy residents and really help them live a more full life. It turns out that a Lennox-Gastaut syndrome diagnosis is kind of challenging because the symptoms change over time as the patient ages. And after Ita introduces Epidiolex, she's going to go over the REST LGS tool. And it's a tool, a screening tool that was developed by epilepsy experts. And it's pretty simple to use, but by answering 8 questions, 8 different symptoms of epilepsy, depending on the score, it can indicate that an individual should be reevaluated by an epilepsy expert for a more specific diagnosis like Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. So I'm going to stop my share now and send it back to Dina. And if you could send it over to Ida, Dina, that would be fantastic. Any questions so far?
Well, I do have a question.
Awesome.
On the Make a Melody, you put snap a picture, and then what's the next step before the MP4 video?
So you upload it to the Unspoken Symphony website, and then there's as I understand it, there's an algorithm where it analyzes the colors and the shapes of what's ever submitted, and almost instantly it comes back to whatever email address you've submitted as this musical file. And what's cool and unique is that it's kind of like a snowflake, because every music file that comes down, every song is different.
Mhm.
So in my case, it was pretty easy. I just uploaded it with my phone. That's probably the easiest way to do it. Does that answer your question, Kimberly?
Yes, and also you said call you if we need help to use it in a facility. Where do we get your telephone number?
And on the, great question. On the end, we're
I'll
gonna
send it
list-
out
Yep.
after the meeting.
Dina's
I'll send
gonna-
out
we're
some handouts and his contact information.
Okay, thank you.
And we're going to put it up on the screen to Kimberly, so you can see it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm gonna start the broadcast. Excuse me. And okay. Share audio. Okay. Can you hear me, first of all? Yes. Okay, great. All right. So I'm Ita Jeanette. I'm an executive account manager with Jazz in South Florida. And I am going to just give you a very, oh my goodness, why did I just do that? Hold on a second. I don't know why I did that. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so I'm going to just give you a high level overview of what Epidiolex is, the patients we treat with Epidiolex, and then I can always answer any questions you want. And then I'm going to tie it back into what Greg was saying with how to really screen for these patients that really should have the diagnosis of LGS. And to give everyone a little background, 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a code or a diagnosis code for LGS. All these patients, everyone you're seeing on my screen, Stephen, Aaron, Charles, Kelly, they were just listed as intractable seizures. So just patients that weren't controlled on their seizure medications. So I'll tie that back in afterwards. So Epidiolex is the first and only FDA approved CBD oil to treat three epilepsy syndromes. That's LGS, Lennox-Gastaut, Dravet, and TSC. And we have 3 indications, all for 1 year and up to however long we hope to live. So again, it is the first in class. So it's really the only type of anti-seizure medication. There's only one type of CBD that's approved for an anti-seizure medication. We believe that it works, its anti-convulsive effect in multiple different ways. And it's passed strict FDA standards in order to have batch-to-batch consistency and be FDA approved for patients to treat patients with these epilepsies. I'm gonna skip ahead here to really kind of just show you the efficacy or how well the drug works for these patients with Lennox-Gastaut. And again, these patients were on multiple different medications, at least 3 other anti-seizure medications. So they were what we would call the hard to treat patients. And when they had Epidiolex added to them, they saw about a 40% reduction in those drop seizures that we know cause so much damage to these patients. And then again, this slide really shows what percentage of patients got to a 50 or a 75% reduction in their overall seizures. So that would be super meaningful. If they went from having 20 seizures a month and going to 10, that's meaningful, because we know every one of these drop seizures or seizures overall could cause massive damage to these individuals. So for Epidiolex, 25% of patients, so 1 in 4 patients got to a 75% reduction in their overall seizures, which again could be so meaningful. I know my brother was a patient just like these patients. He never got the LGS diagnosis. Unfortunately, he passed away, but he definitely fit into the category of having LGS but never diagnosed. And every one of his drop seizures was really catastrophic. Either they would lead to him not returning to work because he was embarrassed, or being in the hospital for multiple days. One of the massive drop seizures he had, he fell in the shower and he hit his hand, and he came very close to hitting an artery. He never had proper use of his hand again. So we know that every single one of these seizures that we can avoid is important to these patients. And lastly, a lot of these individuals have changed anti-seizure medications, and they have this effect, like they call it the honeymoon effect. But with Epidiolex, we've really been able to show sustained efficacy in these patients. And this illustrates over 3 years of sustained efficacy for these patients. So that's kind of like the overview of, I'm just going to go to, that's kind of a quick overview of Epidiolex in general. I was gonna wait to take questions, but now that I think about it, I'll take questions on Epidiolex if you have them, but I still am gonna go back to the diagnosing screening tool to make sure that we don't have patients go through slip through the cracks, if you will, and just stay in the category of treatment resistant or refractory patients, rather than it's super important for them to get that diagnosis of LGS, because it opens up to not just Epidiolex, but there are other medications that are approved for that specific indication of LGS. So real quick, does anyone have any questions before I go back to that? No? Okay. I will go over here. No, I will not go over here. I will go over here to this. So again, like Greg was saying, it is this is a screening tool that was developed not by Jazz Pharmaceuticals. It was developed by a group of experts in epilepsy in the field to basically say that there's so many patients that should have the diagnosis of LGS, but really don't ever get that because they kind of just stay in that category of refractory epilepsy or tough to treat epilepsy. They just stay there. So how I explain it to the doctors is this. Again, it's a screening tool. If any of the individuals get to a number 8 or above, it's likely that they could have a diagnosis of LGS. So when we think about these patients that were already in the bucket of refractory or just tough to treat, and basically they're just kind of stuck there because a lot of the adult practitioners kind of think that this is a pediatric disease state. We really want to show them that it's not. So if you think about it, so we think about one individual. I'll just take my brother in this scenario. Did he have persistent seizures despite trying 2 or more anti-seizure medications? For me, the answer was definitely yes. Or for him, at least 2 seizure types. So did he have tonic, clonic, atonic, absence? Did he have at least 2 different kind of seizure types when he was having a seizure? And for him, the answer is yes. So we're at a score of 4 so far. Then was the seizure onset before the age of 12? Again, for him, absolutely. He started having seizures when he was about 10 years old, out of nowhere. So just with those top 3, we're at a number 7. So you can imagine how many of those patients that are in the category of refractory epilepsy or treatment-resistant epilepsy almost should be at this LGS diagnosis. So then if you add on all these others, so was there use of helmet or evidence of facial head injuries? Again, with my brother, definitely yes. He was in the hospital many times for falling on his face, losing his teeth, black eyes. So right there, my brother should have had, or at least the screening tool would suggest that he should have a probable diagnosis of LGS. And then we can keep going. So was there cognitive impairment since childhood? Again, for my brother, it was yes. Is there any history of vagus nerve stimulators, ketogenic diet, or epilepsy surgery? A history of generalized slow spike wave, or a number 8 would be any one of the following EEG findings, which basically is an abnormal EEG. So you could see that this happens all the time. These patients are not identified as having LGS, and they really miss out on opportunities to have new medications, or possibly maybe for me it would have been disability. He had applied for disability many times and got denied. But if he had this diagnosis, he would have been able to have disability, which he definitely deserved. So that's the overview of Epidiolex and the screening tool that, again, was not created by Jazz, but by experts in the field to really help all of us help identify these patients. And with that, I'm going to give over, yeah, there you go. I can see you, I think. And Greg, do you want to add anything? Or were there any other questions I can answer?
I was gonna say, people could, unmute themselves and ask a question. We did have one comment in the chat,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
but we definitely got time to answer
Yeah.
any questions people may have.
Oh, here, let me go to the chat real quick. Not sure much of a question, but I think it's definitely a cool tool of knowledge for doctors who can use this to make a correct diagnosis. Exactly, Dustin. It's exactly the point.
Yeah, can you share that last slide that has our contact information and it says questions on it? I think you still have the ability to share.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. I failed.
Dustin,
my dear friend
great
Craig.
point. that's one of the things that we're so passionate about this, is because you know, sometimes physicians, they're all busy people, and sometimes when they see long-term epilepsy residents, it can be a shorter appointment where they're kind of in the mode of how's everything going. They're more maintaining things. But with a screening tool like the REST LGS piece, that is a request from a caregiver or a facility, like, we see some symptoms that we would like you to reevaluate this person for a more specific diagnosis. And it's kind of it's usually included in the face sheet that goes with the resident to on their appointment to see their neurologist or whoever takes care of their epilepsy. And it can be the first step in getting a diagnosis. Of course, we don't expect the folks on this call to make that diagnosis, but this is a tool that can help you on the path to getting kind of more specific diagnosis and more help for your residents. I wondered if after, and Ida, thank you for that awesome presentation. After,
Can you see the slide? Can you see the question slide? Just want to make sure.
Yes.
I can see it.
Okay. Okay, great. Okay.
I was just wondering if anybody thought of, does any individual come to mind that you're like, wow, I think I want to kind of evaluate this person with the REST LGS screening tool and just see where they come out and see if you know, they might be someone that we could ask for a better diagnosis from their epileptologist. Can you think of any residents?
Well, just on a side note, are we gonna send this tool to everyone on the call or every facility so they even have it, just kind of like that they can print out?
Yeah, I did share with Dina has all the things we went over today.
Okay.
And I think, Dina, you share those with the folks on the
Yeah,
call?
we usually do. Yes. So after the meeting, we will send out all the handouts and everything so that people can reach out. And I know, I recognize a lot of the names. So we do have some providers on the call in addition to parents and caregivers.
I have a question for Ida.
Okay. I'm here.
Why,
see any yet.
why did he not get qualified for a disability when, until he got the medicine?
Well, again, he never got this. He never got he never got the diagnosis of LGS, and basically he just never got the diagnosis. And I was taking care of him later on in his life. Actually, he did get the diagnosis. I don't know why he didn't get disability when he applied for it before, because I wasn't really in charge of his care then. But I do know that he would have had a much better chance if he had the LGS diagnosis as part of his disability paperwork.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, y'all? I just wanted to throw out there, if you would like Jazz, like Ida and me, or I know there's people from all over Florida on this call, but if you're interested in having us come in and doing kind of like a similar presentation like we did today, we can do that. We call that an in-service. We can come into your facility.
Yeah.
Thing is, we usually do it over like early in the morning for breakfast, or do it sometime around lunch, and we can actually bring food. And you know, one of the things we can do is we can do an in-service where it focuses on the REST LGS tool, or we could come in and help you do an art day for Unspoken Symphony. But we just, you know, our goal is to help individuals, IDD individuals with epilepsy, specifically those that that's what my area is, those that live
Epilepsy.
in ICFs or IDD group homes. And Ida calls on physicians that take care of individuals from ages 1 and up. But just want to throw that out there. If we could help by coming in, we're happy to do that.
We have several participants that could qualify, but I need to talk with my colleagues first and tell them about the class that we had today and see what they say.
Where are you out of, Kimberly?
Fort Pierce, Florida,
Okay.
Gulfstream Goodwill.
Okay. Yeah, we're really here to support. You know, I've been working for, well, Greg and I both been working for Jazz for a long time, but I've been with Epidiolex since it was launched. And I've been doing this for over 25 years and, well, 22 years, I guess. And I've never worked for a company that we really care. We're really here to educate. We're really here to be of resources for you. So please take advantage of it. You know, if it's not going to you, it's going to some other, our time and energy are going to some other facility and with other patients. And we're happy to spread ourselves thin and help as many and educate as many facilities or patients, or if you have a patient day, anything like that. Think outside the box, because we do. As long as it's helping patients and individuals living in these homes dealing with epilepsy, we're really here to help.
Great, Ida. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, we will be at your advocacy days this fall, but don't wait until then. If you're interested in this, if like Kimberly, if you want us to come to your facility in Fort Pierce and share a version of what we did today, we're happy to do that.
That would be wonderful, but I had to talk with my supervisor.
No problem. No
Totally
problem.
understand.
And we'll give you a call.
Sounds
Okay.
great.
Sounds great.
Well, I wanted to thank you all again for inviting us on today. I hope this was helpful. As Ida says, we really just are seeking to educate and help, you know, these IDD individuals that we all try to serve.
Right.
So I'll turn it back over to you, Dina.
Well, great. So we appreciate Ida and Greg on, and again, we will send out all the information and share the YouTube channel for people to pass along as well. So thank you all for joining.